Hi everyone, I'm Bilal and you're watching Untitled Academy. So today in this lecture, I will tell you about how we handle the events in Android. I hope you will enjoy and you will like it. And if you have any query, you have to ask me. So this is our lecture. So starting with Android event handling, there are some following three concepts related to Android event management. The first thing here is Android event listeners. Okay. So what event listeners are basically, and event listeners is an interface in the view class. Okay, so this means that we have a view class here. I will tell you in my next lectures. So what really the view classes are, why they are important, and why the thing is view class. So what it is that it contains a single callback method. So here the thing is clear that we have a listener and event listener. That basically is an interface which is in the view class and it contains a single callback method. So what really these are? These methods will be called by the Android framework when the view to which the listener has been registered is triggered by the user interaction with the item in the user interface. I hope you understand the thing that what really event listeners are. Let me explain it again. That an event listener is basically an interface. Remember this, that event listener is an interface. Okay, and where this interface is, it's in the view class. So it's the interface of a view class which contains single callback method. Like it's like a single, there is some single method. We will see what really the methods are. I hope they're mentioned here. We will see later. These methods will be called by the Android framework. So this means that the Android framework is calling the view class, and from where it calls the, and when we call the event listener, so it calls the interface from the view class. And when the view to which the listeners has been registered is triggered by the user interaction when the items in the user interface. So this means when you interact with the interface, when you interact with the frame, so what did happen, it's called this interface and event listener that triggered this event, whatever the event is. So the next thing is event listener registration. Event registration is the process by which an event handler gets registered with an event listener, so that the handler is called when the event listener fires the event. So what really you understand is it's quite not a hard fast rule about the thing. So what's in the event listener registration is, event registration is the process. Okay, first listen this, that event registration is the process by which an event handler gets registered. So this means when the event is handled, it just get registered with an event listener, so that the handler is called when the event listener fires the event. So basically event listener is basically like when you click on a button or doing some drag drop reactions, something like that. So it just triggered the events and how the things are there. Here is some definition, and when we will go in practical form. So the third thing is event handler. How the what really event handler is, when an event happens, it's simple thing. It is not rocket science here. That when an event happens and we have registered an event listener for the event listener calls the event handler. This is simple. There is nothing to explain this thing. That what really it's simple, that when an event happens and we have registered an event listener for the event listener calls the event handler. Simple. Which is the method that actually handles the event. I hope there must be no issue about these three things, that what really these things are. When we will go in practical, as I told you before, I will tell you there. And in this lecture, I'm sure about this thing, that this is the lecture, and in the last you will see that your events handling concepts will be cleared. So what really this thing is, there is an event listener and event handler. Okay, so what really event handler is? Event handler, there are some basic methods available in event handler that overrides, and when we call the event handler, it overrides the method. The first method is the on click method, like you are doing some click on some button, on some text, on some edit text field, whatever the thing, whatever the gadget is there, whatever the widget is there, you just click on that thing, you just click on that container, whatever it is. It's just this event is triggered. Okay, so what's the definition about this thing is, this is called when the user either clicks or touches or focus upon any widget like button, text, image, etc. You will use on click event handler to handle such event. I hope this thing is clear. This is quite simple, clear, and nothing to explain about this thing, what really on click is. So what really next is on long click, on focus change. What is the on long click? It simply show by its word that you are doing some click and you just pressed the button for quite a long time. Whatever it's button, it's text, it's image, whatever it's some widget, it's some screen, whatever the thing is present there, this method might be triggered. So what's the definition here is, this card when the user either clicks or touches or focuses upon any widget like button, text, image, etc. for 1 or more seconds. So I hope this thing is clear. The difference between on click and on long click is this, that it's like you are just clicking, you are just put a click on click, you are just putting a click, you are just touching the button. And in long click, what really happens is for 1 or more seconds you have to press the button for 1 or more seconds. So this thing is quite clear. So let's go to the next thing. The next thing is on focus change. So what really on focus change is, it's like when you are losing some focus from the thing, like you are just clicking on a thing and then let me explain an example, that when the widget loses its focus, okay, user goes away from the view item, you will use on focus change event handler to handle such event. It's like that you are clicking on some button and then you are losing, and you want to just you click on it and you just released it. You clicked on a button and then you released it. Okay, and when you released it, what happens, you are losing the focus of that button. So this means that what just happened then when you're losing the focus of that button. So how this thing is happen, how this thing works, you on focus change is just called here. Okay, so what this really on key method, what you do is, this card when the user is focused on the item and pressed or released a hardware key on the device, you will use on key event handler to handle such event. I hope this thing is clear. So some few methods remain: on touch, on menu item click, and on create context menu. So in on touch, what really happens is, then when you presses the key, releases the key, or any moment just gets it on the screen, you will use on touch event handler to handle such event. It's really quite simple. That what really it means is, like you are touching a thing. It's the same like on click button. Okay, like you are clicking, you are just touching the screen. Okay, on menu item click is like you are just choosing an item from menu. You are like clicking on menu, and what it happens is just pop up the menu or whatever the things are there. Let's see what we are using here in example. Okay, the last thing is on create context menu. This is called when the context menu is being built. Okay, so what really thing is, like when you want to create a menu, you have to call this method. You have to call this method for creating a menu. Okay, so here are all the methods which are present in event listener class. When you are extend your class from event listener, then you have to override all these methods. I hope this thing is clear there. So now we will see what really next things are. There are many more event listeners available as a part of view class. So this thing is clear, like on hover listener, on drag listener, etc., which may be needed for your application. So I recommend to refer official documentation for Android application in case you are going to develop sophisticated apps. So I hope this thing is clear that why really event listeners are important. Okay, so the next thing is event listener registration. Event registration is the process by which an event handler gets registered with an event listener so that the handler is called when the event listener fires the event. So there are several tricky ways to register your event listener for any event, but what I'm going to list down only top 3 ways, out of which you can use any of them based on the situation. Okay, so what really the thing here is like I'm at first what I'm doing is I'm registering the event. Okay, you have to just remember the things whatever the theory present here, just forget about this theory, just remember the steps what I am trying to telling you about the thing. Okay, you are finding the things here that I am just going on with the theory thing and just going the thing and don't go with the practical. Okay, fine with that, but the thing is at first you must know about the theory, that why really we are using these things. We must know about the importance of these things. So what really event registration is, what really it's doing, at first what you have to do is you have to register the event handler. The first thing is you have to register the event handler. So we have to remember the thing that the first step for us is that we have to register the event. Okay, and the second thing is here what the event listener, so that the event handler is called. Why we are registering is so the event handler is called when the event listener fires the event. So I hope this thing is clear. There are several tricky ways. Okay, there are ways. Okay, fine with that. Awesome. To register your event listener for any event, but I'm going to list down. Okay, so he is going to list down the 3 events using anonymous inner class, activity class implementation tool, listener interface, using layout files, activity main.xml to specify event handler directly. So let's see how this man does this thing. The first thing is touch mode. Users can interact with their device by using hardware keys. Yeah, really. Okay, hardware keys and buttons and touching the screen. Okay, touching the screen puts the device into touch mode. The user can then interact with it by touching the on-screen virtual button, images, etc. You can check if the device is in touch mode by calling the view class in touch mode. This is quite really simple. As I told you before, what really is you are using on focus, you are using on click, but mostly what I am using is in event handling, mostly the people used on touch, on click thing, on focus, on click, on hover. Like if you want to create some fancy thing, so what you have to do is you have to create you have to do the thing. Okay, so let's see how on touch event is doing, how on touch event code is working. So you are seeing here that on touch event returns basically a boolean type. Okay, so on touch event we create on touch event method with motion event as a parameter. So it's just getting motion event as a parameter. So what we do is we are using just putting a switch statement with where it gets its action. So mostly it's like using games, like if you want to create some paint application and you want to do some touch thing, touch up, touch down, that left and right, you want to write the thing. So what you will do is when it's going for touch down, when this event is like going touch down, so just put the code here of a line. The line is creating here. Okay, and when it's going touch up, just write the line here, it's going up, and when it's move towards left or right, whatever. So there are methods there. Okay, I hope this thing is clear. So on touch event, yeah, it's quite simple, so simple like that. So the next thing is event handling example. So it's doing an event handling example using an anonymous class. So basically anonymous class is like it's just having an object, and it's just create, and when it's called, when it's done its thing, it's just destroyed. Okay, so here you will create an anonymous implementation of the listener, and will be useful if each class is applied to a single control only, and you have advantage to pass arguments to event handler. In this approach, event handler method can access private data of activity. No reference is needed to call the activity. Okay, so no reference is needed. Are you seeing here? Like no reference is needed to call to activity. Okay. So, but if you apply to handle to more than one control, you would have to cut and paste the code. Wow, this is awesome. What it's saying, if you applied the handler to more than one control, sorry for that. What it's saying, if you applied the handler to more than one control, what you would have to cut and paste the code for the handler, and if the code for the handler is long, it makes the code harder to maintain. Okay, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Following are the simple steps to show where to separate the listener class to register and capture click event. Similar way you can implement your listener for any other required event type. So let's see what are the steps here. Like at first you have to create an Android ID, you have to create some project and hello world chapter, you have to find it in my previous tutorials, and modify the main activity and blah blah blah, and other classes modify the default. Okay, fine with that. No need to declare default strings, whatever the things, run the application and launch the emulator. Okay, so things are clear that what really we have to start an Android IDE, and then we have to work in main activity like we are doing a single class thing. So no need for another class. There is one activity, single activity main.xml and single main activity.java class, and nothing others needed. So let's see what we are doing in main activity. We have a progress dialog. So here is the code. So we have a progress dialog. Okay, we extend this with an action bar, whatever the activity is. I am not caring of this thing, but really this activity is okay. Here it's mentioned as the action bar activity. You can put it as app compat activity or simple activity. So here is an action bar activity, so don't worry about this thing. So here is the code. At first we are just doing a progress dialog. Okay, and there are two buttons here, so button 1 and button 2, and we are putting as button 1 dot set on click listener, that when it on click method, when it click on it. Okay, so this is an anonymous class. Okay, like this is an anonymous class. I hope this thing is clear. It's like when this button is clicked, its action complete, so it just destroyed there. Okay, when it click again, it's action complete and it's destroyed there. So I'm not using it on any other thing, so that's why we are saying that this is an anonymous inner class. Okay, this is an anonymous class. Okay, so here the object is creating, and here is the inner method. So I hope this thing is clear. So here is the second button, and the same thing is here, that it's find the text and it just put the text size. When I click on the second button, it just increase the text size, increase the text. Okay, increase the text size or whatever the text view is present there. We will see what is really happening. So I will show you the screens. So here is the XML. In XML there are two text views, there are single image button, okay, and there are some further image buttons and another text view. Okay, so let's go to the screen and we will see what just happened here. You will see I just get this tutorial from tutorial points, and I recommend you have to find a tutorial point. Is so awesome. As a developer, I'm still learning, I'm still on the learning stage, and I'm doing this is a tutorial points is really awesome. It's doing fine things for the developers. It's so simple that you can understand the thing. So here, like small font and large font, what you will do is when you click on the small font button, the hello world text is changed, okay, and when you click on large font button, its font increase to large, like 55 or whatever we mentioned here. Whatever we mentioned here, like here the text size will change to 55. So text view here is hello world. I hope this thing is clear. Okay, now you try to click on two buttons one by one and you will see the font of the hello world text will be changed, which happens because registered click event handle method is being called against each click event. Okay, so I hope things are clear, and if you have any issue please tell me, and if I am doing something wrong, like I'm on the learning stage, really I'm on the learning stage, and what I'm doing, if I'm doing the thing wrong, then please tell me, and please subscribe for the things, and thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and if you think, please share with others, and thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Ta-da.